Welcome, everybody, to our second Saturday's poetry reading. My name is Dan Kerr. I have the privilege of being your moderator for this monthly reading hosted by Kathy Donnelly. We do start promptly at 11 o'clock or thereabouts. Please keep your microphone muted until it is your time to read. We do believe that feedback is a gift, so if you like what we're doing or you think we can improve what we're doing, there is my email there. Send me any feedback that you had. Kathy and I meet regularly and look at the feedback we've received, and we're always trying to refine the program. We're in our third year now, but we've got our shtick pretty well developed, but we can always improve it with your input, so don't be shy. Planned agenda today, I'll get you settled. I'll turn it over to Kathy, who will likely read a poem, and she'll introduce today's featured poet, Margarette Wahl. And then what we'll do is we'll have the open read. So if you want to participate in the open read, just enter your name in chat. And if you are chat challenged like Marvin, don't worry. We'll come around at the end. We'll make sure everyone has a chance to read. And Marvin, I have put you as your traditional spot as the first reader. I guess in baseball, you would be the opener. So we'll do the open read, then we'll come back to Margarette, who'll come back for an encore, and then Kathy will conclude the program. We know that you're here for poetry, not for evangelization, but there are a couple of things that we do at the church that the poets tend to participate in and become active in. If you want a deeper dive on what goes on at All Souls, just visit our website right up there at the top. So we have our monthly concert series, and next concert is a group of students from the university on May 4th called the Voyager Reed Quartet. This poetry, I recognize some of you are probably here for Margarette, which is great. This may be your first time. We do this every month, so it's the second Saturday of each month. We also do Native American drumming once a month as well. So again, if you want to do a deeper dive on any of those things, just send me an email or visit the website. Once a year, we combine poetry and Native American drumming and music, and we do a concert in the church called Conversations on the Sacred. You'll recognize Linda Dickman and Mindy and Bruce and Kathy and Vivian up there on the altar there. So once a year, we do a special concert. So we have sacred readings, and then after each sacred reading, and you can see some of the sacred readings we have there, after each sacred reading, there is a musical interlude, either with students from the university, from the organist Dan Kinney there on the left-hand side playing the historic 200-year-old urban organ, or our Native American drummer standing there in the back. So that you can mark your calendars for that. You're welcome to join us. That's on July 6th. Hope to see some of you there. And then once a year, we celebrate the role of the church in the community, and we raise funds to make the church handicapped accessible, and also to put a bathroom in the back of the church. Before we got started, Kathy was talking about Gladys Henderson and how when she was poet laureate, she hosted the programs in the church, and then she had to stop doing it because she couldn't make it up the stairs anymore. So we do this event. Actually, this is a typo, which I'll fix. We're going into our 16th year. And you can see going from left to right, Wendy, number 435, and you could see Barbara, and you can see Dr. Bronson, and you could see the other Barbara on the right. There is a group each year called the Live Poets Society that so far all the poets each year have walked. So if any of the poets want to run, they're welcome to run as well. It's a 5K race and a 2K walk. So we hope to see you on October 6th, and hopefully you can either run or walk with the Live Poets Society. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, who will get us started and introduce today's poet. Kathy, I'm going to stop sharing and give you the full screen.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to read a poem that is about the wartime. It's by Wisława Szymborska, one of the greatest poets that I've ever read. And it's sort of reminding us that war is just horrible, and what's going on with our brothers and sisters in Ukraine and Gaza and Israel. We're very fortunate to not be subjected to all of that. So this is called Some People. Some people flee some other people. In some country under a sun and some clouds, they abandon something close to all they've got. Sown fields, some chickens, dogs, mirrors in which fire now preens. Their shoulders bear pitchers and bundles. The emptier they get, the heavier they grow. What happens quietly? Someone's dropping from exhaustion. What happens loudly? Someone's bread is ripped away. Someone tries to shake a limp child back to life. Always another wrong road ahead of them. Always another wrong bridge across an oddly reddish river. Around them, some gunshots, now nearer, now farther away. Above them, a plane seems to circle. Some invisibility would come in handy, some grayish stoniness, or better yet, some non-existence for a shorter or longer while. Something else will happen, only where and what. Someone will come to at them, only when and who is how many shapes, with what intentions. If he has a choice, maybe he won't be the enemy, and we'll let him live sort a life. Sorry to start off with a sad commentary to war, but if you think about it being your house, suddenly you can feel it. So, Margarette, becoming one of our superstars. Margarette was born and raised in Massapequa, New York, Long Island, South Shore. She works in special education and has done that for over 20 years. She's involved with various poetry organizations on Long Island, which include the Nassau County Poet Laureate Society as an advisor, on the board for Bards Initiative, and a co-host for the Performance Poets Association. That's a lot. You're busy, huh? And a full-time job, yeah? This writer workshops her pieces through the Farmingdale Creative Writing Group. She attends local poetry readings and open mics. Margarette is published in a number of anthologies and has 4 chapbooks through Local Gems Press. Educated by heart, from rags to whiskers, across my paper trails, broken wings, and coming out soon, a poetry memoir of her late high school crush. She's featured in Long Island Sounds, Walt's Corner, Long Island Quarterly, Hey Books, Alien Budding Press, Cooch Bihar Magazine, Pink Trees Press, and is a silver-tongued devil, Rogue Scholars Press, and more. When Margaret is not writing, she is cuddling her rescued cats and following her favorite boy bands, O-Town and Westlife. She is a proud lover of things included being an Italophile, Anglophile, Judeophile, Xenophile, Olophile, I'm not sure what that one is, and lots of files not created yet. We bring you today Margarette Wahl.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
You are welcome.
So I'd like to start off with a poem from my first book, Educating by Heart, because I am a special ed teacher's aide and bus matron for over 20 years. And it's appropriate for this month. It's titled Because. Because April is Poetry Month, I write these stanzas. Because it is Autism Awareness Month, I tell about his spectrum disorder. Because it's important, I educate the world about one young man. Because of infomercials, caring for neglected animals, poor children in third world countries, never for a young man with autism slipping through cracks, I have to write this. Because everything is hard to believe, I present them in poetry anyway. Because tomorrow may be one day too late, I recite this in hopes for change. Because I was quiet and shy once, I know silent hearts need to be heard. Thank you. My next poem is after watching the BBC World News, there was a video, and it's called Girls of Revolution Street. A woman waves her headscarf on a pole, not a sign of surrender. It's bravery and strength. Far away in Tehran, this risk taker arrested, challenged authorities that stood against the Islamic Republic. More women, men, and an old woman appear on social media, hijabs as flags, letting the world view their civil disobediences, disclose their olive skin, uncovering dark hair, reveal their hidden features. They allow us to witness Persian beauty. They aren't just Middle Eastern people. They are today's pioneers building history, one mind, one head at a time. Thanks. Poetry Locket. Poetry forms from letters, tells us a story, the scent of lavender, a horse's neigh, a morning glory, stanzas and couplets, rhymes and reasons, the use of all the four seasons. Honor the living, elegy the dying, sonnets like bonnets, classical, not lying. Free verse the meanings, hearts are still beating. Sestina is what you mean inside 39 lines. Ghazal is what you'll say inside 10 instead of 9. Haiku ties the shoe in 17 syllables, it's true. Tonka is what we want to say in just a few more. So many poetry forms for sure. Ballads a story, ABA in its glory. Acrostic letters form a crowd, alliterations notice, metaphors are proud. All these formations inside one's pocket, kept close like the special poetry locket. Yes, once in a while I'll rhyme, not often, but once in a while. So my next poem is based upon Facebook. I was once fake news. So this is what happened. And it's titled, I'm Not Engaged. I'm not engaged, I'm not. I'm still single. For 2 days on Facebook made me look engaged, but I'm not. I'm still single. It was a game when I hit a button and it would tell me how my 2023 would end. Engaged in bold letters it read, and that's all my friends saw. I'm not engaged, I'm not, I'm still single. The piles of heart comments and congratulations wishes poured in. I'm not engaged, I'm not, I'm still single. At first I assumed it was my poetry haiku award I was being congratulated for. Then I saw it, the picture of the oversized ring. It looked like my hand. I'm not engaged, I'm not, I'm still single. Then there was the profile picture from a meet and greet with Jason Serbone, Jackie Aprio on The Sopranos. We looked like a happy couple with our smiles, except he's married and has a daughter. I'm not engaged, I'm not, I'm still single, like a newspaper headline or a billboard announcement. I have the best Facebook friends for thinking I'm good enough catch for Jason Serbone. Thanks. My next two poems are about spring. It's spring, even though the weather's been a little funky and sometimes doesn't feel like spring. This one's called Scent of Spring. We float on forgotten songs, and that's a quote from Stephen Schmidt. A wine glass touches to my lips. I look for a bouquet of words to write this new poem. All through this night, stars glitter. I remember a vision of yesterday's butterfly. She danced around me, flying ebony wings, accented with purple. So close I could almost feel her breezes flapping from her delicate wings. I breathed spring only a moment, a firstborn of the season. Will she dance tonight inside a spring rain scent? And my second one, Ode to a First Sign of Spring. We passed by, paused for a moment. Yesterday's storm decorated the ground. Grass and bushes hide underneath snow piles. A redbreast robin peeked over, stopped us dead in her track. Mistaken for a statue, she surprised us on our way inside Walt Whitman's birthplace for a workshop. We were given a free poetry prompt. First evidence, spring is here. My next poem is titled Message from a Sea Turtle. I never write about you. That's a white lie. I do write about you. The truth is, I didn't know you. Our only encounter, eye contact across parking lots. You in your red Daytona, me walking from classes in college, 1996. In 2015, I read your ending, your older brother's grief posted on Facebook. He searched for solace in videos of his young children. A shaman once told me I'd have a spirit animal and see it everywhere, and I do. Soy on your Instagram rescues of sea turtles underneath a double rainbow. Today, your 9-year anniversary, I wear a sea turtle hoodie with matching earrings in your memory. Driving home from work, confirmation came when I saw rainbows. My next poem came from a dream. I woke up and I was singing the line, I don't want to call you a memory. And that's what I titled this. I don't want to call you a memory. I don't want my eyes to swell from missing you tears I shed. I don't want to say you're gone when forever is such a long time. I don't want to call you to say you disappeared when you existed and mattered. I don't want to call you a poof, like you vanished. You're not a magic trick. I don't want to call you absent like we did in school. I don't want to have closure. You aren't just a story, you're many. I don't want to move on like a breakup on a relationship we never had. I don't want to recover from you. You're not a drug, a drink, or a lifestyle choice I made. I don't want to say it's over, no matter how much everything about you has. I don't want to come to terms without you, like you were a lesson. I'm still learning more about you. I don't want to call you an end. You aren't a book I'd close. I don't want to heal from losing you. It feels like I'd be letting you go. I don't want to call you a memory. I'm glad we met. You gave life a smile the brief time you were here. You're not just a memory. You're my crush, now my muse, alive on the pages each time I write. Thank you. My next two poems are because I am from Massapequa. So this first one's more recent. One Less in Blue, it's called. My hometown's blue again. My street poles and storefronts dressed in royal blue ribbons, like bow ties. They wrap around a grim reality. My world bows its head at a candlelit vigil. Police officers align my suburban neighborhood. Salute towards an ambulance. Inside it holds a 31-year-old man, a husband, brother, son, friend, fellow officer to the NYPD, a father to a 1-year-old. His baby will grow up learning the legacy left behind, stolen too soon by enemy gunfire. This is not a foreign war. It's New York City streets where criminal activities play on constant repeat. Offenders charged over and over, released again and again. Rap sheets read like resumes. Elected officials neglect to acknowledge their poor judgments, their responsibilities, as blood spills across city streets, across blue uniforms, across our lives. It's their deciding hands carrying this ugly truth, why another police officer is taken from us. This was not just one night, not just one mistake, and not the first time. This was yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and the day next. It's inevitable without change. This is now. It hits home. It needs to stop, and it needs an end. Officer Jonathan Diller was our protection. He wasn't just one cop, one patrol car, not just one shield. He's one of many, one of the first faces we'd see in our cries for help, in our hours of need, in our moments of desperation, to keep evil away from us, in a world now feeling one less good, one less protected, and one less safe today. Thank you. Love letter to the Sunrise Mall. The youth today will never know fun times embraced walking your tiled floors, through your alleyways and kiosk browsing. Woolworths, a staple once of Massapequa's community. Orange Julius on 2 floors. Hallmark Gifts had 2 stores too. Stearns, Sears, JCPenney's, Macy's. Escalators lifted us up in shopping spree spirits. Sam Goody for a 45 record, a single or two. A Sbarro's pizza slice of time spent after movies, or your timeout arcade for a break, while Puff and Stuff sugared us in candy fixes. Country jeans, strawberries, Payless shoes, Victoria's Secrets, all dressed me in my teenage and adult years. Petland discounts toyed with my dog. She knew their yellow bag never camouflaged her food and fun. This big empty space once full of shoppers, teenagers occupied with socialization, indoor koi ponds and fish tanks, missed like this mall. There are some things you just can't find online. So I have two more poems, and both of them are dedicated to my parents. The first one is called Honor, and it's in memory of my mom, Doris Wahl. My mom had a gun, like in Western and cop movies, a real 22 caliber, sometimes a 32. My mom, she wasn't scared. She came from a tough Bed-Stuy neighborhood. Growing up, my brothers would tease, when mama shoots the gun, everyone runs. Truth is, mom's gun was more privilege than protection. And those people who ran from her, they are the fastest runners of the world. You see, my mom had a gun and she held it well above her head, her arm straight in the air at heaven's reach. My mom shot fire for track and field for over 35 years. She met Diane Dixon, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and Carl Lewis, all at the starting line and finish lines. My mom, she had a gun with plaques and citations and rewards. The first United States woman starter at the Olympics, Atlanta, Georgia, in 1996. Today, I'm just sitting here proud to say I'm her daughter. And it really is remarkable. Like, I think about it now about my mom. You know, she's been gone for 5 years. And just recently, one of my coworkers started doing track and field, and people are on the finish lines still talking about things that my mom had done during track and field for over 30 years. She also was the first woman to officiate women's soccer in the, state championships. So she's got a lot of firsts. And the next poem, we can't talk about mom without talking about dad, is called The Lead Man. And everything in this poem is the truth, nothing but the truth. I know a guy as a kid who sat on a man-made ledge chewing on lead-based paint, watching trolleys ride by. He never got sick or developed any disability. I know a man as a kid who visited his uncle who worked in a thermometer factory, who played with live mercury, even took some home, and he never got poisoned. I know an individual who as a teenager enlisted as a U.S. Marine, served and spent time in Camp Lejeune and drank its water, yet he never got cancer. I know a homeowner who bought his first home and installed his own shingles made of asbestos. He lived there over 20 years. I know a fellow who joined the New York City Fire Department, the finest, before they wore proper equipment, and he never suffered smoke inhalation, and he still has his lungs. The same firefighter fell through a staircase in a fire and dropped several stories. He had a few broken bones, but he never burned to death. I know a homeowner who survived Superstorm Sandy. He had 4 feet of water saturate his entire home, his livelihood, and he rebuilt it. I know a person who caught COVID, pneumonia that followed. This man survived a mini stroke, and that he bounced back from too. Like all challenges he faced, when I have a cold or an ache or even an ounce of pain, I am in no position to complain to this guy because I know how lucky I am. I know the toughest man alive, and he's my dad. And yes, I do believe he's made from lead. Thank you guys so much for listening.
That was great, Margaret. Just a beautiful range of poetry from the very beginning, when you recognized it was a National Poetry Month, and telling the story of autism and all those stories that needed to be told by poets, including those girls on the street in Tehran, those brave pioneers. The poetry locket, I think that was real education for novices like myself and others, just really all the different range and types of poetry that are out there. Very clever to capture that in the poem. And anyone does Facebook could just empathize and really enjoy how Facebook got you engaged. That was great. And the Scent of Spring poems and and the beautiful poem about the sea turtle and your spirit animal reminded me of our Native American drumming that we do here. They're always talking about spirit animals. And the memory, I can't call you a memory, just a beautiful, beautiful poem about how difficult it is when someone comes out of our lives. And the poem in Massapequa, my God, just capturing the emotion and the reality, and just the beautiful, the way you captured that sea of blue and humanized that poor cop who had died at the, and not only him, but what those policemen represent to all of us. And the love letter, the love letters to the mall. How you can't buy certain things online. You can't buy that experience of going to the mall online. My wife here, she'd point out when she had people who said they didn't have time to exercise, she said, just go to the mall and walk around. Can't do that. And the beautiful, beautiful poetry with your mom with a gun, and just the way that built, and the thought of her, how you introduced her, being the starting pistol. I didn't know quite where that was going. And the lead man, what a beautiful, beautiful story. So that's your dad. Wonderful tribute. So we look forward to having you back for the encore. So we're going to move now to the open read. And we do have some norms for the open read. Just give me a second, I will call them up. So open read, if you have one poem, please, one poem only, no more than 5 minutes. I don't want to have to interrupt anyone. So if it's a poem for more than 5 minutes, you probably want to make another selection, because we have the 5-minute rule. Please keep your microphone muted until you're called upon. Wait to be called upon to read. And then after the open read, we'll call Kathy back and we'll call Margarette back for an encore, and then Kathy will close the program. The way we do the open read is I'll announce you in call you in groups of 3, so you're not surprised. The first group of 3, Marvin, you're our designated starter, so we'll start with Marvin, and then we'll go to Bruce, and then we'll go to James from North Carolina. So remember, when it's your turn to read, you have to turn on your mic. And Marvin, you're first up.
Daniel mentioned Melville's great book, Moby Dick, at the last meeting. And this is my poem on Moby Dick's chief antagonist, Ahab, who is the protagonist of the novel. Ahab is obsessed with getting revenge on Moby Dick because the great white whale had torn off his leg. So here is my Ahab poem. Are you satisfied, Ahab? Now the truth you have angled for fills your lungs and bubbles forth the essence that you quested for so long. Are you now content on the back of it, riding through waves that merely lick the flanks of it, that cannot skin off the skin that you ride, as if you were born to peel the truth, and others but to harpoon a whale?
Thank you, Marvin. Ahab, that whale does task me. Bruce, over to you.
Thanks, Dan. And thank you, Margaret. That was a wonderful reading. Deeper in memory. Some memories are deeper, secluded by time, the overgrown haunts of childhood left behind. If one could see them, they would look like scars on skin, patches toughened by the imperfect process of healing. We stroke the scars to feel the curious roughness that reminds us these injuries are not fatal. Poke at them, scratch them, the pain is gone. But sometimes, with just the right twist of a prodding finger, one thin nerve remembers. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Well done. Okay, James, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, the other day we were listening to about Jesus, about in the temple and the money changers, and I got to thinking, well, let me write a poem about that. I said, many sins Trump did tout, from temple first thrown out, ugly words would shout. We knew from the start Trump was never very smart. He would break our heart. On Trump saw blemish, back of truck put Biden image. would play with and scrimmage. Of Trump we were prey, reading Bible when we pray, for sins he must pay. Detected Trump vice, he never was very nice, women would entice. Whipped and liked to lash, Windows supporters would smash, threw Trump in the trash. Trump had been a twit, we knew he was a nitwit when having a fit. When Trump played a tune, sounded like a big baboon, should leave office soon. We told Trump 10-4, not want around anymore, had thrown him out the door. Amen.
Thank you, James. Politics remains a topic for poetry. Okay, the next group of three is Chip, followed by Herb, followed by Mike. So Chip, you're up first. Remember, Chip, you got to turn on your mic. Give Chip.
Thanks very much. It's very good to be here. I tried this poem last month at Poetry Street and it didn't go well, so I'm trying it again. It's a child's voice. I was the littlest, the last of 5, really of 7 children. 2 I didn't even know till I was grown with kids of my own. Okay, I digress. I stood silent, quietly in line, on my face, fright for the ages, wide-eyed, sidelong stare at my big brother, and a fluttery ache in my belly. Yeah, I stood in that line. I stood there wearing my lucky yellow shirt, wrinkled trim in the sleeves, and bell bottoms shaking like a leaf inside. Outside, frozen, perfectly still I stood, all the time wanting to run away and hide with my big brother at my side. I was 8. And this lineup was the routine when you did something wrong, like not doing your chores or not doing what you're told to do when told, and especially like looking like you kind of want to talk back. Come on, I know our family was not the only one, but really, is there any reason to hit, to whip, to beat, to strike a child? Okay, I digress again. 8 years old I was, lined up from the eldest to the youngest, me. After the speech, delivered almost as long as Sunday's sermon, came the beckoning of the hand, pointing out exactly where to stand. First, my eldest brother stood in the designated spot, stoic and still like an ironing board. Dreadfully, I watched in endless ache as he, like a hungry crocodile, clenched his teeth as though his very pride was at stake, relentlessly holding on for way too long, thinking so wrong, twist to take, aggravate, instigate, sure to make more blows to flow, harder and harder. The tears did choke behind the levee until he broke. His head did fall with nothing at all to say, feeling hurt, shamed, and defeated. He walked away. Within finger's reach, I watched each of my siblings slowly walk from the line to the spot. A docile stare, her hand outstretched, without a sound, a single tear raced down. Taken by hand, firmly held, jerking which and every way. What? Nothing could we say, okay? Belt, extension cord, leather strap, diverse switches braided with care struck my sister who didn't break her docile stare. One by one, I saw them walk off, sniffling in gloom, alone to our shared double bunk bed, single room. I was 8. Now, holding my behind, it being my turn, anticipating the burn, alone, I walked from the line to the spot I was told to stand. Like dark seas, I disappeared in memories, sank into sand. And just like the rest of my siblings, I too extended my hand. Regardless of what I've been shown, today I know that shame is not mine to own. Thank you.
Very poignant, beautifully written. Okay, Herb, over to you.
Okay. Here's a happier spring poem. April 2024. The blaring harbingers of spring arrive, a greatly glowing yellow clarion call. Forsythia and daffodils revive, glow loudly, even in a hard rainfall. Now multitudes of birds begin to sing, A black and orange oriole joins tunes with sweeping starlings. Sunlight sparks each wing, while careful robins guard their small blue moons. I'm 70. Spring doesn't care. It will, with flourishing flowers, songs, and warmer days, make me forget my age. My walk uphill will level off and pass more pleasant ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Well done. Okay, Mike, over to you.
Morning, everyone. This poem is called The Poet, and I kind of hope you find a little bit of yourself in one of these lines. Here we go. I guess you should all know my story. I'm someone who just has to write. Tumbling words, metering phrases keep me up most every night. There are songs, there are stories with rhythm and rhymes. You can take at face value or read between lines. There is love, there is hatred, there is humor, there's truth. Some are written for the ages, some are wasted on the youth. Some are morally despicable with a somewhat twist of fate. They are sometimes quite ridiculous. Some you'll love, some you'll hate. There are words by the thousands. There are themes by the score. There are some you'll remember, but there's some that you'll ignore. They're a tribute to my ego. They're a window to my soul. They're a figment of creation that I simply can't control. I'm a victim of a talent that's a blessing and a curse that fills my ever-waking thoughts with rhythm, rhyme, and verse. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, well done. Okay, the next group of three poets that we have is Dan Kerr, followed by Claude, followed by Shu. So let's, Dan Kerr, remember to turn on your mic. So those of you familiar with my poetry know that I've written a number of poems based on visits to favorite graveyards. So, you know, in Père Lachaise in Paris, you've got Jim Morrison's grave. And back in 2006, I went to Argentina and I went to what the Argentines called the City of the Dead, Recoleta. And I stood before Eva Perón's grave, or her tomb. And I wrote this poem 5 years ago. We're coming up on now the 105th anniversary of the birth of Eva Perón on May 7th. So I wrote this poem when Eva Perón turned 100, or would have turned 100. And it's called Evita at 100. 100 years ago, you were born out of wedlock in a poor Argentine village in Argentina. When your father was killed in a car accident, your family was thrown out of his funeral by his legitimate wife. When you were 15, you bleached your hair blonde, moved to Buenos Aires to sing and dance your way to glory. 50 years before Faye Dunaway, Patti LuPone, and Madonna stole your star, you performed the roles of Elizabeth I, Sarah Bernhardt, and the Tsarina of Russia on stage. At 24, you entered politics and hitched your star to Colonel Juan Perón. 2 years later, you were the first lady of Argentina. The poor orphan girl from Los Toldos, Argentina, was transformed into Evita. After Juan was elected president, you took your rainbow tour to Europe. Francisco Franco awarded you the Order of Isabella the Catholic, the highest honor in Spain. Pope Pius gave you a rosary when you toured the Vatican, and Charles de Gaulle dined with you at Versailles. Not all were so kind to the orphan girl from Los Toldos. King George VI refused to see you, and Swiss protesters splattered your Christian Dior dress with tomatoes. When today Argentine Pope Francis embraces the sick and celebrates the poor, perhaps he is channeling his inner Evita. When you hugged lepers and touched the wounds of the suffering, you ceased to be the president's wife and became to the people a saint. Argentine poet Jose Maria Castellera El Dios said, You changed the perception of the poor from a literary one to a Christian one. Many compared you to Ignatius Loyola, akin to a one-woman Jesuit order. Perhaps that's why the Argentinian Congress declared you the spiritual leader of the nation. Jesus focused on the poor and taking care of widows and orphans. He made a whip of cords and drove the moneylenders all from the temple courts. Your voice grew angry when you said, I wish my insults were slaps or lashes. I wanted to hit people in the face to make them see what I see each day as I help the poor. The first English biography of Evita Peron was entitled The Woman with the Whip. Jesus had his Sadducees and Pharisees. You had the ladies of the Sociedad de Beneficia and the military officers that did not believe women should lead. When they refused to continue the tradition of electing the first lady as president of the Sociedad, the Evita Foundation was born, and women gained the right to vote in Argentina. Like Jesus, you died an agonizing death at 33. Pilate sent soldiers to guard Christ's body after the crucifixion to make sure it was not stolen as a symbol of power beyond Rome's control. When you died, 8 people were crushed to death and 2,000 treated for injuries in the throng that rushed to be near your body. After 3 days, Christ rose from the dead, and after 40 days, he ascended into heaven when his work was done. Your body was embalmed and put on display in the trade union headquarters. There was to be a huge monument to celebrate your legacy and allow the poor to be with you forever. 3 years later, a military coup wanted to purge the country of Evita and Juan Perón. Your body was hidden behind a movie screen and later at the waterworks of Buenos Aires. With the covert assistance of the Vatican, your body was buried under an assumed name in Milan, where it lay for 14 years until it was returned to Juan in Spain in 1971. Juan returned to Argentina in 1973 and was elected president for the 3rd time. When he died suddenly 1 year later, his wife Isabella brought back your body to Argentina and put it on display next to Juan. Another great monument was planned, but a coup overthrew Isabella, and you were laid to rest at Recoleta, Buenos Aires, city of the dead. They say your grave is like a nuclear bunker. 5 meters of concrete remind us of us all to keep our distance. Many still fear your body will disappear again, and the woman, or the myth of the woman, will rise once more. No other woman has ever aroused the emotion, the devotion, and the faith of Evita. Many Argentines have 2 pictures in their homes, the Virgin of Guadalupe and Evita Peron. As I stood before your tomb at La Carreta Cemetery in Buenos Aires, I heard a singing. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is, I never left you. Thank you. Okay, so Claude, over to you.
Yeah. So Patti LuPone, who played Evita, she's from Northport. I used to sleep at her apartment when we were both working our way up in the world in New York back in the 70s. So my poem for today is April in Paris. How many people have been to Paris? Okay. All right.
Got engaged there, Claude.
Excuse me?
I got engaged there. Special place in my heart. And you'll notice over my right-hand shoulder is always the Eiffel Tower before Hitler marched in.
Oh.
But go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
That's good. All right. So Paris, Europe, a lot of times it's cloudy all the time. It's not sunny, especially in the winter and April very often like that. So, and viande is a word, the French word for meats. April in Paris. Viande, légumes, tarte, obliges. The shopkeepers of the patisseries welcome their customers so politely, sing-song their French, passively anticipate their money, wrap the brioches and sweets so elegantly in thin white paper with ribbons and loving care. Working each day, but Sunday, is their life, packing and unpacking their perishable wares before and after the streets are cleaned, the sun falls behind the buildings, undressing, removing the high heels and butcher's aprons before rinsing their bodies in narrow, tiny showers, dropping asleep quickly until the alarm goes off, starting another misty morning, another bustling gray day. The end.
Thank you, Claude. April in Paris. Well done. Okay, Sue, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. So I really enjoy this reading. It's so much fun and a lot of great poem. So we have a lot of poem about spring this morning. So I will add one more. Spring. Spring arrives, bearing warm sun rays and lingering chill, scattering dandelion across the hillside, painting winter jasmine yellow, adorning red buds with pink hues, arranging purple hyacinths for Easter. Woodpeckers chisel cavities for future lovers. Robins hatching new lives in nests. Squirrels tending to the newborn in trees. Deer grazing on tender shoots. Bees dancing among the blossoms. Yet my heart, still frozen in winter's shadow, yearning for spring's embrace. Thank you.
So Sue, a nice spring embrace from all of us here to complete the poem. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to the gallery here. Now look, Kathy, please help assist here. Is there anyone who wanted to read? Virginia or any of the other folks wanted to read? Going once, going twice. Okay, so if there's no one else who, oh, Kathy, would you like to read?
I would, but Wendy and Virginia not reading? No?
So you scared Wendy away. She just turned off the
Kathy,
screen.
I could read something small if
Go
you,
ahead, read something small, Wendy.
okay. It is Poetry Month, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it's called The Scribe. Poems may bear my name, yet I am not their author. Words call out to me. I hear them during the day and at night. They rattle around in my head. They demand they be given a place. I am the one who puts them to paper. I am their scribe.
Well done, Wendy. It's always good to hear a reading from one of the live poets.
Thank you.
Kathy, over to you.
Isn't that what we all are, scribes, right? Writing our thoughts and our observations. I just wanted to say a word. That was quite a story, Dan, about Patti LuPone. And I know she comes from Northport, very proud of her. She, I saw her in the 70s play Evita, and this same woman, this is a half a century later, just performed at Staller. And I'll tell you, she was every bit dynamic as she was 70 years ago when she was up on stage. What a fantastic performer she is, Patti LuPone. And one of us, she came onto the stage and said, "Hello, Long Island, I'm home." And the crowd just roared. So amazing woman, really. I'm going to read a poem. I don't know if it's a poem. It's meant to sort of make you laugh. And I'm wondering if you all couldn't write another stanza to what I'm about to read to you. So the name of the poem is called Screwed, which you get sometimes on your own doings. You only have to lock the keys to your car once in a deserted parking lot or in the driveway, workday, everyone sleeping, cell phone in your bag with your keys, to never do it again. You only have to forget to turn off your cell phone during a concert after having it ring during a solo, cello, debut of a shy young musician, son of your good friend, to never forget to turn it off again. You only need to go to a celebration once as a friend's guest, only to find that the hostess is your ex-husband's new mate, that he will be there, hasn't signed the papers yet, to never not check who is giving the party again. Lastly, you will never rush out of the house again, unsure you turned off the stove, having made a boiling hot pot of water for your tea, kids waiting to be picked up, school's out, it's raining, unable to turn around. No, if the house is on fire, like the way you are learning. By fire.
Well,
And
done.
I imagine we can all write another stanza of something you've done that you went, oh, geez, I'm screwed. So that's my little poem. Next month, first of all,
Got the encore, got the encore. Margaret, you want to come back for the encore?
oh, the encore. I'm so sorry.
That's
I was
okay, you're
just gonna-
forgiven.
I was
You've
gonna
got
give
a
you
good
some words
reservoir
of
of goodwill.
praise.
You've got a
Yeah.
reservoir of goodwill. Robert doesn't have a monopoly on reservoirs of goodwill.
I will
So-
never not ask that question again.
Okay, Margaret, we're all yours.
Okay, I'm going to start with a Sanryu that I wrote this morning because I felt that this was kind of important as poets. We often do this. The worst criticism comes from the reflection found inside the mirror. The worst criticism comes from the reflection found inside the mirror. Just like Kathy's poem, we often blame ourselves for everything we forget to do, or we think our poem's not good enough, and it's usually ourselves that are thinking that, not anybody else. So my last poem I would like to read is from my pet rescue book that came out in 2016. It's called From Rags to Whiskers. And I don't know if you noticed during the open mic, my cat was jumping all over me while I was listening to everybody. And it's, often like that. So this poem is called Amazing Grace with Pause. I am the luckiest gal in the world. The most amazing cats own me. I wake up every morning grateful for a wet nose kissing me, salmon pink and colored against her white fur, another dark whiskered face cooing in my kitchen, meows for his love of canned food, rubs against me as I prepare 3 bowls. My third one kept my towel warm, perched on my toilet seat as I took the shower, waiting. Some days I play guess who dug out the litter box again, and dry cat food crumbs pile up. My vacuum and dustpans take turns whisking across my floor and rugs. But when I hear the sounds of tiny nails dance across my linoleum floor, it's amazing grace playing as they chase a toy mouse, pounce in excitement seeing a bird at my dining room window. How sweet the sounds to save such lives as these. I once was lost, but now am found, and thank God every day, knowing I am the one rescued.
Aw.
Thank you.
Well done. Kathy, over to you.
Yes, animals can do that, can't they? You do feel rescued, actually. So lastly, we have a wonderful poet named Nina Yaval. She's from out east. They call us uplanders. I don't think we call them downlanders, but anyway, she comes from the Riverhead area. She's a marvel. We will see her next month, and so I hope you can all come and take a listen. That's when I'll read her bio, and you'll get to know her better. Right, today is Margarette's day. Thank you, thank you. Very, very poignant poems, very touching. When something touches your heart, you hold on to some of those lines. And I wrote some of them down for you, but basically I have your books and I'm reading them. And it's a page turner, I have to say. Lovely. So wishing everybody a good day. It's dreary out there, no sunshine. I think we're getting used to that as New Yorkers. Take your vitamin D and be well, and we'll see you next time.